It's a must-read. Jason Peters, Hero of the Underground. Now, here are some of the highlights. Let's not bleep each other. My goal was to put Peyton Manning in the hospital. He also writes, I took the same pit bull attitude that I had playing football and applied it directly to doing cocaine. And if this doesn't want to make you stick around for the next 3 segments, I don't know what will. I wake up with the menage of coke-smeared mirrors and nude snoring strippers. I would truly know the meaning of the word misery. Jason Peters might be one of the most beloved Huskers of all time. His New Jersey East Coast attitude, that gentle smile and a sense of humor. Husker fans ate it up, but after leaving Lincoln, a life that looked privileged turned dark and lonely. It's safe to say that Jason Peters has been to hell and back, and I'm telling you right now, he's lived to talk about it. You can get the full story in his new book, Jason Peters, Hero of the
Even with the title, Hero of the Underground, sometimes there's some confusion with the title. Some people think that I'm directly attaching the word hero to this entire drug life, and that somehow or another I want to be known as a hero for going through that. And when you read the book, you know that's not the case. The last thing that I want is for people to applaud me for coming out of this on the other end. I mean, I don't even consider myself out on the other end, but the Hero of the Underground, you're right in the terms with hero, the way that it was out here at Nebraska. I think, and Rob knows, from the moment you sign your name on that letter of intent, you're a household name. Now you start to combine that with becoming a starter, becoming a 2-time all-conference, all-American, co-captain, winning 3 national championships, being a first-round pick. I think even if you have a good head on your shoulders or not, it's tough when everybody's telling you how great you are, how good you are, that it starts to carry over, I think, into the real world, into normal life.
But is it a false sense of reality?
Absolutely, I think. Absolutely. Because you find that out, too, when the cheers finally stop. There's nobody there telling you how good you are anymore. And that was difficult for me, the transition from the playing days into the real life. I just didn't think that I could do anything other than put my hand in the dirt and go chase quarterbacks and running backs.
Okay, let me ask you a question, because we have 2 former Huskers here. We got one that played on the defensive line. We have one that played on the offensive line. He played 5 years in the NFL, you're in the NFL. What possessed Rob to go to medical school, and what possessed you, because he knew what he wanted to do after football, what possessed you to just start doing drugs?
Well, I was a guy who was always sitting in the back of the classroom, scared to put up his hand, never confident in anything that had to do with using this thing up here. And the only place where I ever felt comfortable was out on the athletic field, whether it was football, soccer, ice hockey, you name it, that's where I felt at home. And when that all came to a crashing halt, and trust me, being out of the NFL after 4 years, that was the last thing that I thought was going to happen. I figured that I would dominate the NFL the same way I did college, and that I would play for 10 or 12 years, and that I would be an all-pro guy year in and year out. And it couldn't have been the complete opposite, anymore. It was just, I did not know what to do with myself. When they say putting all your eggs in one basket, that was me.
Why the book, I guess? What was the impetus for wanting to write the book?
Well, it was the same reasons for doing those HBO shows, for doing all the radio shows. The main goal was to bring more awareness. And if my story could help somebody else, whether it was a 16-year-old kid who's about to go on to college, 16 or 17-year-old kid, whether it's a 50-year-old housewife who pops pills all day, I thought that if my story and me talking about my experiences could help them so that they didn't have to go through that, then it's all worth it. So that was the main goal. The other goal had to do kind of with what I was just talking about, with not feeling like I could do anything other than play football. And at the time, I was volunteering, coaching high school football out in California. I was getting $700 a year for California high school football, which is like big time college football with the hours that you put in. I mean, besides just being on the field, the video time that you put in. So this was the first time that somebody came around and said, we want you to enter into an agreement, a contract. You have to hold up your end of the deal for this. And that was huge for me because, mind you, I'm that kid, I'm that man now who doesn't think that he can do anything other than play football.
Looking back, did your problem start in Lincoln?
That's when I first had my first pain pills. But to say that I was an addict in Lincoln, that couldn't be farther from the truth. I didn't know anything about scamming doctors, scamming pharmacists, doing any of that stuff. I knew that when I took those pills for the first time, that I liked the way they made me feel, though.
But so, was it more about killing the pain, or was it the high?
When I was here in Lincoln?
Yeah.
Oh, when
Or
I was
both.
here in Lincoln, the only times that I got pain pills were for legitimate reasons. If I banged my knee, if there was something wrong with my back. Those were the only times that I got pills out here. I had no knowledge of these things, as crazy as it sounds. I had no knowledge of these things prior to the first time that I took them. In high school, I had no idea. If you would have told me about pain pills, it would have been news to me. I just
Been
didn't-
Motrin.
I mean, Advil, that was it. I mean, those were the only things, I guess. And unless you live a life where you're doing drugs, I guess you wouldn't really know about those things when you're going through high school.
So was there at some point, did something happen or did something click where all of a sudden things changed, now it was different?
Well, it was dealing with a lot of injuries, like you said. I mean, I went down there the first year, and I had to play with harnesses on both of my shoulders so they wouldn't pop out of the socket when they went back to a certain point. So I was dealing with a lot of pain as well. But like we talked about earlier, my career wasn't going the way that I expected it to. And I was down in a new city. I was lonely. I was depressed. I was angry at the way that my career was starting to play itself out. And were there injuries that I was taking them for? Absolutely. But were there other times where I didn't really need to take them, but I was taking them and I justified it through those injuries? Absolutely. If I went home, left practice, everybody else kind of goes home to their wife or to their children, and you go home to this house and you're by yourself, that can be lonely, being down in a new city. And that was, I think, a big difference for me in professional football and college football.